Good lord. So for those of you that are on the newer side of my sub count, you should know there's very few people on this planet that I despise more than Bill Maher. And for a very simple reason, the man's a moron. There's two types of people in America, those who want to destroy the DC windbags and those who want to suck off the DC windbags. Bill Maher is very much the latter category, and considering he tries to discuss politics with the most vacuous, pretentious attitude one can possibly muster, his idiocy tends to send me into a flying rage. There was a moment several years ago where he had on Ben Shapiro on his show, and he said this.
I don't know how I turned into the Trump defender here, but is he a doofus or is he an evil genius? You gotta pick one.
Okay. Actually, you don't. You don't have to pick one.
Really?
Look, I'm not saying he's like Hitler, but I am not.
Here is very.
But Hitler was crazy, and he was a genius at what he did, which was lie and manipulate people. So you can be both.
It was at this moment Bill Maher realized he fucked up. I don't know about that one really, but I waited for months for that moment because Bill Maher would never shut the hell up about Trump in ways that made no sense to any rational human being. Then again, he's a Democrat and therefore irrational, and Shapiro did deliver the powerful shot there rather nicely. And considering Bill said crazy is synonymous with doofus, he cemented his reputation as being just another DC talking shithead. When was this clip? 2018? The same cliched slogans he uses there to bash Trump, he still uses now, 5 years later. He's a useless broken record of a pillock who should fade off into obscurity where he belongs. He never discusses policy either, because he doesn't know anything about policy, or rather he pretends to and doesn't bother because he knows on policy the Dems suck harder than he's urged to spit shine Barack Obama's nutsack. Considering his recent offside escapades, Bill, you might actually get your shot at that. Remember when he said under Trump the economy is doing well, that he was praying for a recession because the one thing that gets rid of a president is a bad economy? How is that one aged, Bill? Do you want to talk about the state of the economy now? No, of course not. You're too busy trying to accuse Trump of things that Biden is guilty of, that the state refuses to investigate because there's actual evidence. And as far as I can see, the FBI only uses resources to investigate things it perceives as a threat to their power because they're essentially the Stasi of the deep state. Bill Maher is essentially the world's worst gatekeeper. This slimy asshole will advocate for anything the status quo peddles for years on end under the guise of liberalism, not realizing that the free-for-all is a power vacuum that will get filled with all sorts of nefarious energies because he is a dumbass. He doesn't understand the nature of power at all. And when it gets too much, he tries to pull it all back under the guise of being the sane liberal in the room, even though he was the one advocating for this bullshit all along. And he doesn't do any of this out of principle, mind you. No. He only does this because excess liberalism will make his side lose and look bad. That is all he does. Outside of this, he is a worthless, unfunny hack, a tedious, suffering spastic that in any other time would share a padded cell and a straitjacket with Sam fucking Harris. Is it obvious I'm a bit heated? So let's make it worse.
And so he just goes along with all the woke nonsense because he doesn't want to fight that wing of his party. He can't afford to have a battle on the left.
Yeah.
So that's my big issue with him. I know you have others.
Well, my biggest issue is he lies a lot, and he's probably...
Well, certainly not more than Trump.
Oh,
please. Come
on,
man.
Well, listen, I think they both lie. I mean, I don't like that more than this guy. Because I want to just, if you want to talk about Trump, we can talk about Trump. But if you just talk about Biden, I don't think comparing him to Trump does anybody any good. You just look at the Burisma situation.
Does because they're running against each other.
Yeah, okay.
So it's kind of necessary.
Not when you're in the room, Bill, no. Because you literally lack the ability to be objective about Donald Trump. He lives rent-free in your weed-infested head. Mention Trump's name and you become more tongue-tied than a virgin getting a fucking lap dance.
If you want to talk about in terms of an election, but you talk about in terms of the guy who's in office right now, like why don't I like him? Well, one of the things that I don't like has nothing to do with any of his choices, is that he's mentally compromised. I think there's something wrong, and I think it's clear.
As if the other guy isn't.
Can you literally discuss anything without bringing up Trump, Bill? Seriously, you sound like a bitter ex that ended up cheating and you're upset you fucked up.
Well, okay, he speaks much clearer. He might be crazy. He might be a sociopath.
He is crazy. He's crazy and stupid.
There is literally thousands of people who think this man is somehow intelligent. He's crazy and stupid. Who says this and is expected to be taken seriously? Someone answer me that.
Say all those things, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that there's something wrong with Biden.
Ah yes, I see pot-smoking comedian who's actually funny is going to be the sane one here. Yes, Biden's performance must be graded on its own. Why the hell any pro-Dem would compare him to Trump is mind-blowing to me. Trump is better than Biden in every conceivable way. No, seriously, Trump is literally better than Biden under any available metric.
Like, he makes up words, he stumbles through things, it seems like he doesn't know where he is half the time. He's very, very old. That's my problem with him.
Okay, well, again, we're living in a world where perfect is not on the menu. These are the choices we're going to have. This is going to be who's running next time. You're going to have a doddering old man.
Do you definitely think that Biden's going to make it to the 2024 elections? Because I'm not convinced.
Well, who knows? Yeah, he might not, and so might not Trump.
Right. Both of them could die at any minute now.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're like 70, whatever years old, 78 years old.
One is 77, one is 80.
Yeah, that's the end of the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're on E.
I mean,
right? I mean, you might make it to town, but you might die on the side of the road. You're
there's also blue zones where people live to 100.
They don't look like those guys.
No, they look better.
Yeah, they're thin and active.
Biden's thin.
That's true.
Trump is not.
But he's thin like skeletal thin. Yeah. Like he's thin like frail.
True, Biden does look like he could get taken out by a damn sandbag. Oh, wait, that actually happened.
Like where he looks like he's just going to fall down a lot.
I'll give you this point. Trump looks a lot and sounds a lot more hearty and robust and healthy. That's true. He's a city roach. He eat the worst things he eats, the stronger he gets. You cannot kill him.
Have you seen Trump lately? He's lost a lot of weight. He looks pretty sharp, actually.
No, I agree.
He's also the only guy that didn't noticeably age the moment he got into the White House.
No, we did. We aged.
No, you didn't. The country was great under Trump. The only people who had a problem with it are the kind of people you fantasize about blowing every night. Wonder how many sex jokes I can work into this. Anyway, keep going.
When he was in office, he was fine. You're right. He didn't look like he aged. He always looks the same. But he's a criminal. And he's crazy, and he's stupid. And crazy and stupid are two different things.
Come again?
But Hitler was crazy, and he was a genius at what he did, which was lie and manipulate people. So you can be both.
Well, it seems you didn't think this way before. I wonder what changed now.
Say crazy, what do you base
let me give you an example. Stupid is like Frederick Douglass is alive, or the stealth bomber is literally invisible.
Right.
Pretty sure he meant radar. Say whatever you want, but no one in their right mind thinks Trump literally thinks they have a cloaking device.
Or nobody knew healthcare was hard to solve.
Well, considering the amount of people who think healthcare can be solved by abandoning private healthcare altogether and just handing it to the federal government, no, I think plenty of Americans think very dumb things about America's healthcare system. Wait, not to mention, Bill, you don't exactly have a great track record of being honest yourself. More people would trust Chris Brown to defend women's rights than you to be honest about Trump. What, too soon, is it?
That's just stupid. He's very stupid. Crazy is like, it's important that the crowd at my inauguration was the biggest ever. And I'm going to make an issue of this for the first 2 weeks of my presidency, despite photographic evidence to the contrary.
Really? That's your best example of crazy? Was nothing he even did whilst in office? Really? You see, crazy to me is things like, I'm gonna shut down the virus whilst having no fucking clue how to do that. Or passing something called the Inflation Reduction Act, which doesn't stop any government spending. Crazy is throwing billions of dollars into the most corrupt country in all of Europe against the Russians and thinking they are still somehow going to win. Crazy is trying to jail your political opposition, overturning 250 years of civic precedents, only to get a mugshot that further increases the strength of the guy you are trying to ice as your approval goes down faster than your VP does. See, that's crazy.
Or I'm going to steal these documents that I don't even know what they are and I don't care, and I'm going to put them next to the toilet at Mar-a-Lago, and then I'm going to fight you to take them back, or not conceding the election.
Yeah, we're screaming for 4 years that it's all Russia's fault, and the only evidence for that was a dossier funded by the Clinton campaign. Meanwhile, the Democrats have contested literally every single election since 2000. Oh, and Clinton said Biden should not concede the election under any circumstances whatsoever, when it was very obvious to anyone watching that night Trump was going to obliterate Biden into the nether realm.
Those things are crazy. Or thinking I can somehow charm Kim Jong-un in Korea.
Oh, hey, Bill, do tell us. Do you remember that time your ilk was giving him shit for getting along with Kim Jong-un and you lost your goddamn mind? Well, what little there is of it anyway. And then when Biden met the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, pretty sure the New York Times or WAPO defended that as sometimes America must do business with bad people. You know, it's shit like that that makes people think you're a two-faced dick.
Although that might be stupid. Sometimes it crosses the line between both. But he's both stupid and crazy, and he's a criminal. You know, he's not being charged in these trials because he's a liar. They purposely didn't do that. Apparently it's okay. It's not illegal to lie to the American people.
No shit, dumbass. If lying was a crime, politics as an institution couldn't exist. It's not a bad option, actually.
And of course, he did lie and continues to lie. He still hasn't conceded the election, which he plainly lost.
Yeah, tell that to Clinton. Far as 2020 is concerned, I would bet if you ask people now, considering the state of the regime and their response, I would say people are going to give a more direct response, shall we say.
He's charged with actual crimes.
No, he isn't, Bill, and anyone who isn't trying to boink a jackass can see that.
Criminal intent to obscure, I forget what the actual name of the law is.
Because you know nothing, much like the prosecution.
But criminal intent to basically steal the election or to coerce people in the states from...
You're talking bollocks.
I forget what it is. And then there's one forgery, which has to do with the electors scheme. Criminal intent for...
What is the forgery?
That's the slate of electors he was putting forward, the fake slate of electors. And then there was the one...
Here it is. We can read it.
No! Damn it, Joe, what are you doing? You should have let him stew in his own ignorant stupidity.
3 counts of solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. So he's trying to get someone to violate their oath. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit false statements and writing. 2 counts of false statements and writings. Violation of a Georgia RICO Act. Conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer. Wonder what that is. Conspiracy to commit filing false documents and filing false documents. Then this is all based on the election results.
Well, there's also felony solicitation of violation of oath.
Yeah, literally no Trump fan cares about any of that. That's bollocks.
Felony solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. That was when he was talking to Ratzenberger. That's the "I need you to find me 11,000 votes." There's also one. I mean, there's two cases about trying to steal the election. One, the national case that Jack Smith is prosecuting, and then there's the one in Georgia. Now, they cross paths in a lot. But basically, I mean, yes, he tried every possible way to steal this election. He tried to do it through the courts. He tried to do it through state legislatures. He tried to do it through intimidating Mike Pence. He tried to do it through the Justice Department. They talked about seizing voting machines.
Yeah, Van Jones was on CNN a while ago giving a whole segment on what a president is legally allowed to do to contest an election. Pence even said he was capable of what Trump asked of him. And the voting machines, even prior to 2016, the Dems admitted they were vulnerable. What else you got, Dem boy?
They talked about using the army.
Yeah, because Trump was definitely going to stage a full-on military coup. But instead of trying for something that might potentially be successful, no. He settled for an unarmed peasant storming at the Capitol, aided by police officers and Fed boys moonlighting as tour guides. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, you can't really believe that this guy is not worse than Joe Biden.
Have you noticed there's literally no mention of a single policy or state of the country whatsoever? Could it possibly be because you're a disingenuous shilling shithead?
I mean, I agree. Biden is not a great president. And the Hunter Biden stuff is a stinky a stinky scandal that stinks to the high heavens. If you think that in any way compares to what Trump tried to do, you just cannot tell unlike things apart.
Okay, you guys down below tell me, and I'll pin this up as a comment. Who's got worse TDS, this dude or Sam Harris? I'm genuinely curious because they're both out of their freaking minds.
And you're saying this just based on what happened after the election? Just that stuff?
Yes. Well, that's the criminal part, yes.
Have you ever tried to steel man his position? Like, do you think he really believes they stole the election, or do you think he's bullshitting?
Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter.
Who gives a fuck?
Actually, it does matter, because without any evidence, your dumbass dove headfirst into the Russian scandal for years. You were peddling that crap. So when it's your side losing, you will believe fucking anything. However, when it's the opposition that has a litany of glaring statistical disparities and events that we all saw with our own damn eyes that made us go, yeah, we have a lot of questions here. And if your only response to those inquiries is who gives a fuck?
Yeah, a bit of a bastard.
Who gives a fuck if he really believes it?
But I mean, if he really believes there's evidence that the election was rigged.
No, I don't care. No, first of all, that was part of the January 6th committee's findings.
Did this man just admit he thinks the January 6th committee was something objective? This man is mentally unstable. Lay off the weed, you aging hippie.
He has multiple people, all the people around him told him that he lost that election, including Bill Barr, you know, and he admitted, one of his quotes was that they have on record of him saying, I don't want people to know I lost this election.
That's kind of crazy.
Well, he's crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
I mean, it's insane that you can't let go of the idea that you can't be seen as a loser. There is I always said this in the beginning, it all comes back to he is a clinical case of malignant narcissism.
Coming from you, Bill, that's rich. The only thing more overwhelming than your ignorance is your fucking ego.
It's not just a quirk. It's actually in the big book of crazy, you know, that...
Right.
I mean, it's a real thing. And it affects everything he thinks and does. It's why foreign leaders were able to curry favor with him. All they had to do was kiss his ass and they got whatever they wanted.
Which was what exactly? Can you name even a single example of any of the bullshit you're peddling here? To who did Trump sell America out to? Which world leader even? He's got nothing.
Do I really think that he wants to help Russia and Putin? I think Putin had him as soon as he said, Trump is a brilliant man. Good, you got me. It doesn't take that much.
How was Trump's reign beneficial to Russia exactly? Do you have any evidence for this whatsoever, Bill, or are you just going to peddle bullshit like you always do?
He's a dangerous guy. The idea that he could be president again, as opposed to Joe Biden, again, Joe Biden, not my first choice, not my 100th choice, but the other guy is a crazy, stupid criminal.
How does this man have any audience? Who in their right mind would listen to this dumbass weasel? Seriously, he's as vacuous as any of the cackling wenches on The View. Isn't that amazing? Anyone on television discussing politics never discusses any policy. Weird that, isn't it? Once that DNC fist is up your ass, it's like a brain hemorrhage. 80% of your vocabulary is instantly shot to hell, and Trump's name seems to trigger this discount Tourette syndrome. And goodbye 80% of your 3-syllable plus vocabulary, as you've been reduced to a set of phrases a 5-year-old would mock you for. God, I need a drink. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.